Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show. You see this look right here. It's not who you think it is. It's Kevin Owens acting like Stone Cold Steve Austin. As Kevin Owens decided to cosplay and become Stone Cold Steve Austin for his own entertainment. And the Kevin Owens and Steve Austin will have their confrontation in 2 weeks in time for WrestleMania, where Kevin Owens welcomes Steve Austin, Stone Cold, to his show. Plus, too, Seth Rollins, the his journey to get to WrestleMania. Seth Rollins trying to figure out ways and means to get to WrestleMania by any means necessary. Did Seth Rollins accomplish what he needed to accomplish? We'll talk about that. Plus, too, speaking of the Seth Rollins situation, how does AJ Styles fit into that equation with Seth Rollins? AJ Styles returns to Raw to confront the Radar superstar Edge, and Seth Rollins and Edge had a history of the last year, but AJ Styles want to get his hands on Edge after what Edge had done to him a couple of weeks ago. We'll get to that. Well, we'll get to it as the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Raw Ring Report, and it starts right now. Hello, everyone. This is Kendra Dix here again, telling you that this is a Raw Ring Report. We are merely 12 days to WrestleMania. WrestleMania comes your way to Dallas, but we have the Raw Ring Report coming up. But first thing first, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. So we get to the Raw Ring Report. We kick off with Raw with Kevin Owens playing cosplay the Stone Cold Steve Austin. We know that Kevin Owens will welcome Steve Austin on night one to WrestleMania. We're hearing reports too that Kevin Owens could be main eventing WrestleMania without having a match, but with Stone Cold, that's the legit report. Where Kevin Owens doing his Stone Cold impersonating the Texas rattlesnake left and right. We know Kevin Owens does not. He been saying he don't like Texas, and that would kind of steer to that point that Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin will have that confrontation, the anticipated confrontation that we've been anticipating for so long. That what will Stone Cold Steve Austin do, and what will Kevin Owens do? Both of them like using stunners. Kevin Owens didn't waste no time talking about what he gonna do to Stone Cold, even mocking Stone Cold by dressing like him, and even stunned a attendant that was throwing beer that Kevin Owens missed, and Kevin Owens got mad and pissed off. Kevin Owens trying to act like he's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Owens better root what he saw because when Stone Cold gets his hands on him, he gonna stump up a mud hole in Kevin Owens is you know what. So we'll say that. Speaking of that, Seth Rollins, who had a match against Kevin Owens last week, and Seth Rollins was trying to get to his way to WrestleMania, and then come to a roadblock at the Seth Rollins felt like he wanted to find his way to WrestleMania. He was upset, mad, but Seth Rollins always the quick cerebral thinker thought of a plan to get himself to WrestleMania. He kept interrupting match after match. Seth Rollins finally got what he wanted. He wanted to take on AJ Styles, and Seth Rollins wanted to replace AJ Styles in his match against Edge, and he thought that Sonya Deville and Alan Pierce can do so, but they did. They led a match for later that night, and we'll get to it later on what Seth Rollins had to say. But speaking of his wife, the women's champion Becky Lynch, made her return to Raw after she got whipped by Bianca Belair with her hand with Bianca Belair's braid, leaving the mark on Bianca, leaving the mark on Becky. I meant to say. Becky said that she came back stronger than ever. She hated that Bianca Belair was taking the spotlight away from her. and she's going to make an example of Bianca at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch dressing like an average person, but Becky Lynch make a point clear that she's going to destroy Bianca Belair if she makes it in time for WrestleMania. And Becky Lynch wants to do so by destroying Bianca Belair. And then she called Bianca Belair with her throat situation, a similar situation with Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania. But Becky Lynch wants to make clear that she's out to eye for an eye with Bianca Belair, and she wants to do so at WrestleMania if she has a chance and an opportunity to do so. Well, we know that the mighty Owens was in action in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Apollo Crews and Commander Z. Um, Commander Z looked at weak. Owens getting dominant. As you see right here, Owens dominating both Commander Z and Apollo Crews. If you can imagine WrestleMania last year, Apollo Crews and Commander Z was on top, but now it's like a year later, they ain't, it just ain't panning out for them. But Commander Z and almost pinned them, and you see Apollo Crews getting pinned in the process. Stacked both men like that and got the 1, 2, 3. Um, I guess I'm figuring they're trying to build Almas, but we're hearing reports now that Bobby Lashley could be making his return and having a match at WrestleMania against the mighty Almas 1-on-1. So Almas might be having his WrestleMania challenge coming a little bit sooner than you think. Well, we speak upon that to the Miz, the one-time former two-time WWE champion, Miz, who team up with Logan Paul to take on the team of the Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic at WrestleMania. Father son, first tag team champions, father son duo, win the tag team championships in WWE history. Well, we know that Miz trying to embarrass Rey Mysterio, even pull out Rey's mask to embarrass Rey and leaving Rey more embarrassed than once. We know Miz saying that he's gonna give Logan Paul Rey Mysterio mask to wear. I wouldn't think that's a good idea, but hey, to each his own. Speaking of that, the ever popular United States champion Finn Balor. You haven't seen Damian Priest, but Finn Balor came on there, and Finn Balor did his thing. And I mean, Finn Balor did. Finn Balor went against you know who, Austin Theory. Austin Theory having his match against Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. Pat McAfee made a special surprise appearance on Raw to cause Austin Theory his match, his match against the U.S. champion, and so Finn Balor and Austin Theory get Finn Balor with the help of Pat McAfee gets the win. Finn Balor on the roll, but what's Damian Priest at as well? Speaking of that, the Street Profits winning their match over Ray Arcade Bro. We'll see if they get their match. And we heard that they're going to be at WrestleMania, but it's going to be a triple threat match along with the Alpha Academy. So look for that happening at WrestleMania. RK Bro defending their tag team titles against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. It's going to be a good matchup. All of them did so good. Montez Ford with the splash, Riddle, Randy Orton, Chad Gable, Otis. So you'll see on that one as well. Also too, what else happened? Dana Brooke and Reggie won their match. They will continue having repeating matches over and over again against Katsura Cesaro and Tamina. Dana Brooke and Reggie winning their match. It's more like they putting themselves with the title and without the title. You know how they go. Well, we talked about the main event was AJ Styles against Seth Rollins, who finagled his way into this match by wanting a WrestleMania moment, want to be in the card at WrestleMania. Man, the statue of Seth Rollins not being at WrestleMania um, does look murk, but Seth Rollins found his way in a match, and he went against. Could it be a SummerSlam Crown Jewel rematch? Edge versus Seth Rollins once again? No, that it wasn't gonna happen. But the match was fast paced. Edge, AJ, and Seth Rollins taking it to each other. But at the end, Edge cost Seth Rollins to go the headline WrestleMania with him, and Seth Rollins was pissed off. AJ Styles was even pissed on what happened. He wanted that shot against Edge. They got unfinished business at the Edge, wanted a challenge, wanted someone to step up, and AJ Styles stepped up. Um, and Seth Rollins went ballistic, went crazy, and this is what Seth Rollins said. I quote right here. He said, "Next week, Monday Night Raw will not happen unless I get what I deserve, unless I get my WrestleMania moment." So we don't know what kind of WrestleMania moment Seth Rollins is talking about. Many people are talking about Cody Rhodes from WWE and AEW to make an appearance. Could Cody Rhodes come and shut up Seth Rollins and have their feud going? I mean, that'd be an impromptu match, but you know, it is what it is. But it's just too soon, too quick, too soon. But anything can happen to WWE. But we know next week Seth Rollins said he will be on tap, on tap, and no Raw will not start without Seth Rollins next week after what had happened to him. All right, that ends the Raw Ring report. Let's move forward. Let's move forward to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics, man, you know that Matt Cardona is I think he's gonna come back to WWE too sooner rather than later. If Cody can come back and make a name for himself, Matt's gonna do the same thing. You can tell Matt Cardona retained the NWA World Title from Nick Aldis, and Jeff Jarrett helped him with the booking. So I mean, Matt Cardona, everyone he's been talking about, he wants to bring change to the NWA, and the NWA might need to change with Cardona as its champion. So we'll see on that. Plus, too, Roman Reigns, his Universal Championship time reign is counting. He's at 567 days as Universal Champion. So he's close to being close to the 600 mark. I don't know if he can keep it up to WrestleMania on time tell. So right now, Roman Reigns is the longest reigning Universal Champion, but he's trying to extend that reign going. So we'll see how the leader of the tribal chief, the head of the table, will be. And here's Roman with his quote said that once he wants to do at WrestleMania. "When Sci-Fi my runs the greatest WWE champion of all time. There are no arguments or debates. It's factual. It's just the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. I'm ready. Let's go." So Roman's prepared himself for his match against Brock Lesnar coming up. So we'll see how all that pans out. Speaking of panning out, we know that Veer Mahan is coming to Raw. Veer Mahan, it's been almost 6 months of when he's coming and been vignettes. We finally know that Veer Mahan is coming to Raw after WrestleMania. So look for that after WrestleMania. Veer Mahan is coming. I don't know why folks make jokes about that, but it is what it is. Well, we can tell you the lineup for next week's Raw. Now, next week's Raw will be this. This ain't the lineup. This is the lineup. Here's the lineup for next week's Raw. After we having the Street Profits taking on American Alpha in a tag team matches, the Go Home Show for Raw, as well as an 8-woman tag team match, as the women who participate in the 4 teams in the women's tag team title match participate in 8-woman tag. And we also saw Carmella and Queen Zelina put their issues aside and work together. So Carmella and Zelina back on the same page, as we thought that they weren't on the same page because Carmella was spending more time with her fiance, Raw commentator Corey Graves, but that wasn't the case. I knew it was a swerve. I just knew it. But we'll find out next week if that these two teams from four different when they compete almost against each other for WrestleMania, they coexist for one night. We'll see. Plus two, Rey Mysterio takes on the Miz for their epic WrestleMania counter in a tag team match. So there's a lot going on, a lot of things riding for WrestleMania next week. A lot. So you know how that goes and all that bees. All right. So they're gonna end the pro wrestling show. We're gonna end with this. Seth Rollins, mad, upset that he hasn't got his WrestleMania moment. Will he get his WrestleMania moment? Only time will tell. We'll find out next week on Raw Ring Report. So for me being Kendrick Dick saying so long, we thank you for watching this edition of the Raw Ring Report on the Pro Wrestling Show. See you later.